Great, welcome to the pre-market overview, Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. Hope the markets are treating you well so far this week. We had some indecision yesterday, and we have some decisive moves to the downside today. We'll get into that when we look at the newsletter. So that's the point of the pre-market overview. For those that maybe haven't joined us before, is that we go through our newsletter. So the newsletter is a document that we send out every day, Monday to Friday. And on that newsletter, we go through 4 of the major markets in the world, where we think they're going, volatility, where price might turn, and news as well. So it's a 2-page document. You can email us newsletter@tradewithufos, and we will send that to you every day, Monday to Friday. We'll put you on the subscription list. We do the pre-market overview for 15-20 minutes every day to just expand on those concepts and explain a little bit more as to how we came to those conclusions and how we use the technology. So again, for those that may not have joined us before, my name is Becky. My email address there, becky@tradewithufos. And then we have the support team email address as well, support@tradewithufos, so you can email either of us if you have questions about anything. For those that are joining us from within the Tradewithtufos channel already, welcome back. Today is a Tuesday, so you will have stocks at 9 a.m. today and then investing at 1 p.m. So we'll see you in those sessions a bit later. Just a reminder, you have futures and options Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and sharpening sessions over the weekend to go through the methodology, questions and answers, and to go through psychology sessions as well. In terms of upcoming live classes, for those that may want to learn concepts from the ground up, whether you're from already within the Tradewithtufos channel or outside, if these are particular concepts or markets or something like that you want to learn, the next one we have is the futures class, where we're teaching you our methodology and how it applies to futures. That will be September 26th to October 2nd, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That's the live class that you can attend. There's also stocks, psychology, it would then be trading plans, and then back testing. Those are the upcoming classes that we have. Remember, all of the classes are unrestricted access for life. Okay, so I'm just going to put the disclaimer on the screen. It's something that's, for some reason, that didn't pop up. Okay, for some reason it's not showing the disclaimer, or if it is, it's being very, very slow. So I would say instead, I'm just going to type it on here. Go to www.youcantrade.com/ or actually it would just be on youcantrade.com. You can get disclosure information on there. Like I said, I don't really know why that's not working, so sorry about that. Okay, this is just a quick reminder as to where you can go on the website to see certain things. So you have a free channel trial for those that aren't already subscribers, that you can trial us for a couple of weeks. You can schedule a clarification call if you have questions. This is all on the website, youcantrade.com, and then go to the Tradewithtufos channel. You can also browse the courses that we do, which are the futures, stocks, psychology, trading plans, and backtesting classes. This is where you would find them on the website. If you click browse courses, this is what you'll see. And you can learn more about each course in detail. And again, schedule a clarification call before you register if you choose to. Bear in mind that the courses are a 2-for-1 at the moment. So it's a buy one, get one free. As you are scheduling your clarification call, you just put your name, email address, and choose the date and time that you would like to have your call. And we will schedule that. You can put additional questions in if you want us to be more prepared for the class, more prepared for the call with answers already prepared, or you can leave it blank if you just like to ask us questions whilst you're there. You'll then get a little pop-up to tell you that it's done, and you will get an email as well. We also have an app on the App Store, not on anything Android at the moment, but on the App Store. So if you go to the App Store and search You Can Trade, then if you have an Apple product, you can follow us mobily if you'd like. Okay, so let's close that out. Okay, so let's look at the newsletter. This is what we have here on the right-hand side. So the newsletter goes through 4 of the major markets in the world. We have the S&P, one of the major equity indexes, oil and gold, major commodities, and the euro. Obviously, a very high volume moves through that market, through that currency. In fact, between the 4 markets that we have here, lots of volume, lots of orders move through this market. So even if you don't trade them directly, I'm sure a lot of what you trade will be at least correlated to it. You'll also notice we're going through a daily time frame for each market. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. This is what's reflecting what's on the daily time. Now, for each market, what we're going to look at is climate, propagating, and nearest UFOs. My arrow went a bit weird there. So starting with climate, what climate essentially means is trend, meaning what direction is the market going in? Now, more importantly to that is what are the probabilities associated with that? So we use an app called the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app. It's a free app on the TradeStation App Store that allows us to understand what the probabilities are associated with trend. So the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app is what we see here on the bottom of the chart here on the left. The ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app will show us one of three things. So it will either show us a thick blue dot that tells us that we're in a confirmed upwards climate, upwards market trend, and probabilities to the upside. It could show us a thick red dot that tells us that we have probabilities to the downside, confirmed downwards climate. Or it could show us a thin dot of either color. The color still tells us the direction. If it's blue, it's up. If it's red, it's down. But the fact that the dot is thin, that is ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app's way of telling us that we have a lack of probabilities, lack of statistical advantage. So we will tend to do nothing on those days. We are using this technology to analyze market data for us and let us know where probabilities lie. And again, as traders, we don't want to do anything if we don't have probabilities on our side. So we're going to look at climate per market. What we also want to understand is propagating. Propagating means how long can we expect whatever climate we're in to continue based on what normally happens. So on the right-hand side, we see what normally happens, i.e. if the market is in a downwards climate, how long does that market usually go down for? If it's in an upwards climate, how long does that market usually go up for in terms of number of candles? Now you'll notice these are all decimal places, so it's 4.25, 7.37. Whatever the decimal place is, I'm going to round it up. So effectively add 1 to each of those. On the left-hand side, we see where we are now relative to that movement. So from these two numbers, we can get an idea of, can we expect the market to continue moving in that direction? Or have we maybe come to a point where we would be more likely to see a change in direction? So that's why we use the propagating figures. Again, the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app does the market data analysis for us and gives us these numbers for us to figure this out. The nearest UFOs. UFO stands for unfilled order. So what that means is where we expect there to be buy orders in a market that could push it upwards, or sell orders in a market that can push it downwards. Again, we're using a piece of technology here to analyze the data for us and show us visually on a chart where those orders are likely to be, because those are orders that are likely to move price or effectively change the direction of price. So if it's a stack of buy orders, we show it as a green UFO. If it's a stack of sell orders, we show it as a red UFO. And again, it's just highlighting for us on a chart visually where these orders are. So we're going to look at each of these concepts per market. And then what we're also going to understand is volatility. Basically, how far can we expect these markets to move within given periods of time, or how quickly do we expect them to move? So we look at current implied volatility, and this column shows us in percentages what we can expect in terms of movement up or down in 1 year on these markets. So as a percentage of their current value, what can we expect in terms of movement up or down annualized in 1 year? So we can reverse engineer that and we can understand what that looks like. Up or down per day, what would be the expectation in terms of movement? Up or down in a week, and up or down in a month. So again, we get an understanding from the volatility numbers as to how far we expect price to move within given periods of time. We then have the climate and the propagating to give us an idea of in which direction we're likely to see that movement happen. And the nearest UFOs, as well as the propagating as well, give us an idea of where price might be likely to stop going in a particular direction and potentially change and go in a different one. So we're going to go through each of these concepts per market. I'll go through these and then we'll look at news. So we're starting with the S&P. That's what we have here on the left-hand side. It's SPX.X. That's the symbol on TradeStation for the index. I'm just moving price here to make it a bit easier to see. So our ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app here on the S&P is showing us a thick red dot, probabilities to the downside, market movement to the downside. Usually the S&P would go down for 5 candles, and we're on candle number 3. Meaning that we still have probability of a continuous movement to the downside, at least for a couple of days. In terms of orders, we have sell orders just above us, 3346.86 to 3375.17. And we have buy orders quite a way below us here, 2955.45 to 2933.59. Those of you that follow us every day will notice that the UFOs from yesterday, the buy UFOs from yesterday, have now been taken out. Buy orders have been filled, which means we now have quite a lot of room there to the downside. Overall, with the S&P, we have a confirmed downwards climate. We have probabilities of a continuous move down, and we have sell orders close by and buy orders far away. So overall, we have sort of strong probabilities there to the downside. Now, just because something is probable does not mean it's definite. Of course, things fall outside of probabilities. So we do need to manage our risk just in case if we were to act on this. But again, overall probabilities there to the downside. And when it comes to volatility for the S&P, we see that we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 27.53%, which means a movement up or down in 1 day of 0.57 points, in a week up or down of 1.25 points, and in a month up or down of 2.61 points. So that's the S&P. Let's move on to the next market. That will be oil. So we're going to look at CL. That's the continuous futures contract for oil. So I'm just going to move price again here, squidge it a little bit so we see, maybe unsquidge it. There we go. Okay, so once again, we have a thick red dot on our Auto Climate app. We have a probability of moves to the downside. Now, in terms of how long that normally happens, usually oil would go down for 8 candles, and we're on candle number 1. So we do have probability of a continuous move there to the downside. When it comes to orders, we have sell orders. It looks like we're just inside the stack of sell orders at the moment. So the meat of the orders is 40.44 to 41.72. But of course, we have buy orders just below us here as well, quite close by, at 38.05 to 36.92. So overall with oil, once again, probabilities to the downside. We have a confirmed downwards climate. We have probabilities of a continuous move to the downside, and we have sell orders much closer by. Saying that, we do have buy orders close by as well, so that kind of takes away some of our probabilities here, but overall probabilities to the downside on oil. When it comes to volatility, we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year on oil of 42.89%, which means in a day, up or down of 1.08 points, in a week, up or down of 2.38 points, and in a month, up or down of 4.95 points. So that's oil. Let's look at gold. So at GC, once again, continuous futures contract there for gold. So let's have a look. Here we are. So once again, thick red dot, probabilities to the downside. Usually gold would go down for 5 candles, and we're on candle number 1. So once again, probabilities for a continuous move there to the downside. In terms of orders, we have sell orders up here at 2039.7 to 2060.8, and stack of buy orders down here at 1836.7 to 1825. So we're not that close to either stacks of orders at the moment. We're kind of, I guess slightly closer to the stack of buy orders, but not necessarily close enough to hit it today. We may see that, but it's less likely. So for the time being, it is the climate here that's giving us the probabilities. So confirmed downwards climate and probabilities for a continuous move down on gold. In terms of volatility on gold, we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 21.60%, which means in 1 day, a movement up or down of 26 points, in a week, up or down of 57.2 points, and in a month, up or down of 119.2 points. So that's gold. Let's look at the last market, which would be the euro versus the US dollar. This is the spot forex currency pair here. And I'm just going to squidge price so we see what we need to see. Once again, thick red dot, confirmed downwards climate, probability to the downside. Usually the euro goes down for 5 candles on a daily chart, and we're on candle number 1. So again, probabilities for a continuous move down. When it comes to orders, we have many buy orders on top of each other. I think it's 8 in a row here that we see one on top of the other. The top one is 1.1597 to 1.1507, just rounded that where it needs to be to the pip. The top one in terms of sell orders up here is 1.2344 to 1.2414. So again, with the euro, we are closer to the buy orders, but again, not necessarily close enough to hit them today. We might, but it would be less likely. So again, the climate here is giving us our probabilities. So probabilities to the downside with a confirmed downwards climate, and probability of it continuing to move down at least for a few days. Again, just because these things are all probable, we have quite strong probabilities in each market today, which doesn't normally happen. So again, a lot of decisiveness really in the markets at the moment, with probabilities to the downside for all 4 of them. Now, just because it's probable does not mean that it's definite. So this doesn't mean this is definitely going to happen. It just means it's more likely to. So again, we manage our risk just in case we're wrong. When it comes to volatility on the euro, we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 7.79%, which means in a day, up or down of 58 pips. In a week, up or down of 127 pips. And in a month, up or down of 264 pips. So again, the volatility numbers give us an idea of how far we might expect price to move within given periods of time. The climate in the UFOs give us an idea of in which direction we're likely to see that happen. And the UFOs as well give us an idea as to where price may turn. So again, we are using technology to analyze market data for us, to tell us where the probabilities lie, to make it easier for us to make decisions on a consistent basis as to what we're going to do in the markets. Now, all of this are direct forces. What I mean by that is that the most direct forces that we have to move price are buy orders and sell orders. Buying and selling, that's what moves price up or down. UFOs show us the very purest that we can, shows us where buy orders and sell orders are, direct forces. However, there can be many reasons as to why there are buy and sell orders, so we do need to understand a few of the indirect forces as well. So on the newsletter, what we show, just going to zoom in, what we show is news and reports, which can obviously have an effect on the orders that we have. So we go to fxstreet.com/economic-calendar. We filter by high impact news on US markets. So of course you can go to that link and play about with the filters if you want to see things that maybe show different elements there. Now this week we have high impact news coming out every day. Yesterday we had a Fed speech. We won't have any information in the actual column for this because it's not a figure that can be reported, which means if you want to learn about what the speech said, you can click on the speech button and learn more about it. Same situation today. We have Tuesday, September 22nd. We have Fed Chair Powell testifies. So again, you've got the speech button there that you can click on it once the speech comes out. It will come out at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. All of the time here on the left-hand side is Eastern. So again, we don't necessarily use the news to help us make trading decisions, but being aware of the fact that it could have high impact in terms of adding or removing orders, which again may lead us to make certain decisions with the way we manage our risk or whether or not we trade today. It's up to you to interpret that in your own trade plan, but just be aware we do have high impact news coming out today around 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's everything today in terms of the newsletter. I'm just going to give you guys a reminder for those that are not already joining us as part of the channel subscription, where you can join the futures, options, stocks, investing, sharpening sessions, psychology sessions. You can join us at tradewithufos.com/you-can-trade. I get there are loads of places to learn how to trade and it can be a bit confusing to know which one to do. So you do have a 14-day free access. So you can try us out for a couple of weeks first, see if what we do makes sense to you. If it doesn't, no problem, just cancel the subscription. If it does, then at least you've had a good couple of weeks to really know that it suits you. In terms of classes, you might not want to join us regularly, or you might, but you might want to learn certain concepts. So for example, the next one we have is the futures class. That starts next weekend, or this weekend coming, sorry, on this Saturday. If you go to tradewithufos.com/futures live, you can learn more about that, as to how we apply this technology, how we apply our methodology to the futures market. And again, there is a buy one, get one free situation on courses at the moment, courtesy of You-Can-Trade. So you can go to the website, see what courses we do, see which ones you want to do, put them together in such a way where you can make the most of that deal and get a 2-for-1. If you have questions on anything, not just courses or subscription, but if it's technology or trading, we are happy to help in whatever way we can. Just email us at support@tradewithufos.com. For those that are joining us from within Tradewith already, we'll see you in the stocks and investing sessions later on today. Stocks at 9 a.m, investing at 1 p.m, and at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, my colleague Wayne will be coming back to look at what did happen today. Did we see what was expected or not? What can we learn from it, and how can we move on with our trading? So we'll see you in those sessions later on. If not, I will be back tomorrow morning for the overview. So I'll see you guys in the morning for the overview for tomorrow. Hope the markets treat you well today. Have a good one, and I will catch you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.